Hey everyone, and welcome to the Drum Club podcast powered by Collision Drumsticks, the number one podcast giving you guys an access all areas pass to conversations covering drumming, mindset, entrepreneurship, the music business, and so much more. Each week, we're bringing exciting discussions featuring independent and signed artists, as well as speakers, touring and award-winning musicians, and industry experts. Make sure to hit subscribe as well to stay up to date with new episodes, announcements, and exclusive Drum Club content. And don't forget, like and comment below to share your thoughts about today's conversation. This week on the Drum Club podcast, we are proud to be joined by drummer and Collision endorsee Alex Fitzkee. Alex is a powerhouse drummer and one half of the Fitzkee Brothers Band, a high-energy rock, jam, and funk group that has been captivating an audience across the US. Their dynamic sound has been praised by legends like George Porter Jr. and Post Malone, and they continue to make waves in the music industry with their electrifying performances and original releases. With that said, hello, Alex. How are you today? Welcome to the club.
Yes, sir. I'm doing good. Yeah.
Excellent. Good to have you. And honestly, we're going to get into everything, but I need to spare a bit of time because everything behind me is catching my eye. Okay. And I know
Okay.
for
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
watching
yeah.
at home. So we'll dive into that shortly. For those who might not be familiar with yourself, could you just give us a little bit of a background as to how you got started as a musician and as a drummer, please, Alex?
A lot like everything in my life, I was influenced by my older brother Drew, and from around I'd say when he was like 6 years old, and we have like a 2 year gap, so I was be like four at the time. He wanted to pick up the bass guitar, and as a little brother, following everything that he did, I wanted to play an instrument too. So, and then my dad had played a little bit of drums in high school, so I gravitated towards that. And little did I know, it's the most complementary instrument to the bass guitar, the drums. And so yeah, I picked that up. Uh, Obviously, like everyone, I found Led Zeppelin, and that helps definitely. But yeah, definitely the early stages of Led Zeppelin and Mitch Mitchell, of course, that sort of 70s rock got me into the door. And I just followed Drew because Drew gave me all the music. He'd like give me a Hendrix record. He'd be like, "Hey, you need to listen to this." I'm like, "Okay." I just took everything he had and I listened to it, and it hasn't led me astray so far. So yeah, I followed him and I got to some good stuff and started playing drums always with him. Yeah.
That's so exciting to hear. I mean, the fact that you've got this influence in your life, I mean, how fortunate he is equally to have you as an influence. I'm sure if Drew was here, he'd be
Mhm.
saying the same thing. It's rubbing off each other as the Fitzkee brothers, as you do best, right? You pick it up. You picked up drums, he picked up bass, and here we are today. So that's always a blessing to hear. What advice do you have for this is a great question. Drummers
Mhm.
who might not have the luxury of having a sibling or having
Mm.
that opportunity in their life, what's a good way that they can immerse themselves into music, right? Because that might not be everyone's situation.
Mhm. So I definitely seen these sort of brotherhoods in musicians before with people that aren't related. And so to answer that question, I kind of answer a similar question when people ask like, how do I start playing live? How do I start doing this? The biggest thing I say is go see music, is figure out your scene and bands that you like and just go see music as much as possible. And then as you start to see music and you keep going to these people's shows, they're going to know you. You keep saying like, "Hey," and then eventually, maybe you get to sit in, that sort of thing. That's kind of the road we took. And then as you just immerse yourself into the scene, you're going to find new people that are going to become your friends. And I don't know, reach you on like a sibling type level. I was just fortunate to have mine right off the bat, but I definitely do know people now who I have a similar feeling towards just from meeting in the
100%.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and as a drummer myself, I can definitely speak to that brotherhood testament. When it comes to working with other band members and mates, you do forge those brotherly and sisterly like relationships. Listen up, be biased there, but I think it's all important to find your friends, find your circles, get immersed in the music, and like you say, go see music.
Hmm.
And I think that all too often we, especially with the COVID, we were talking about
Yeah.
Zoom and having to do this over Zoom. I know you're based in the States and I'm back home in the UK at the moment. So, getting online can be a real sticking point and prevent people from getting into that room. But trying to remind yourself to actually go out, check out the bill of shows, what's coming up in your local area, get yourself out there, get yourself immersed in the scene, because you might surprise yourself. You might come away with some brothers at the end of the night. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good advice. In terms of obviously your brother and yourself, so your brother and yourself with Drew, you've been playing
Mm-hmm.
together for years, as you mentioned. That's how you got into it. You taking his lead. How did the Fitzkee brothers band, come to be, and when did that come to be? Could you walk us through
Um,
that?
yeah. So Drew and I, we were definitely influenced by the band structure. The way we've seen it from the outside is like we were very young at the time. We were like, this is the band. It has a front man. It has these people, and then they have one name and they all share it. And this is the band. And we were like, okay. So we did that model for a good bit. We had a couple of bands that were just like that. Different people fronted it. And eventually we started playing in power trios, which is drums, bass, and guitar. And we got to the point where it was always me, Drew, and some guitarist that was in there, depending on the schedule. And we ended up just rotating guitarists that were available because Drew and I were so busy. However, every single time we put in a new guitarist, we decided to change the band name because we are like, oh, it's a different person, it's a different band. That got really confusing for the people who were trying to follow us. So we were like, all right. So we changed it and then eventually kind of put ourselves first because we were 2/3 of the band and, writing the material and stuff. We were like, all right. So if we just call it the Fitzkee Brothers Band, then we could play with whoever guitarist. We could be like, it's the Fitzkee Brothers. They got this guy today. They got this guy and this. So it was kind of a method of clearing up confusion for the scene and the people that were following us because sometimes they just show up and be like, oh, I didn't know the Fitzkee brothers were in this. And then that would be something they would want to know from the 5 bands we were in.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. I think it's such a unique story, and I think it's one well worth sharing. I mean, how often do you find two brothers making 2/3 of the band? And then it's just perfect for you guys and your setup. So, and I think that's so important as well. Whatever dynamic suits the music and the setting, and that's exactly how it should be. Just for the betterment of the music. And you guys have got some amazing music already out. I mean, give you
Thank
all
you.
my love. Personal favorite of mine. You've got to go
Nice.
and check these guys out. I'm telling you, everyone at home. We're going to drop the links below to all of Alex and Drew's content, also their music as well, so you can have a look at that. I describe it as bass riffy into like throwy crashes and just it's just so loose. I love it. Tomorrow,
Yeah.
and you've got as well. I believe what's the other one? Is it long song or love song
Oh,
that you've
Lake
got?
Song. Lake
Lake
Song.
song,
Yeah.
Lake song. That's
Don't
the
worry.
one. Yeah, the organ slide. I think that's so bouncy as a track. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. So no, fabulous stuff. I wanted to ask, how would you describe your sound personally? I've tried my best there to describe a little bit of it, but yeah, how would you describe your sound? And you've already talked about influences, right? Led
Mm-hmm.
Zepp, 70s bands. Can you
Mm-hmm.
kind of build on that and just describe how you've managed to kind of find your way through just some incredible influences over your
Sure.
time?
So Drew and I definitely had a sort of ride influences wise. So I would say we definitely started playing music from that 70s era. That but from that era and just from what we'd like to hear, we drove straight into punk music. We were punk musicians right off the bat. And that's where our first few bands were. And it was a good place to be. In Delaware, you're near Philly, you're near New York, you're near Baltimore and I know Philly definitely is good with the punk scene, that sort of thing. But as we started to grow, we started getting into the southern rock type of things, and then I would say that of course, Skinnerd is the main hitting point for a lot of people. But we hit that, we kind of went down and found our love. And my favorite band is the Allman Brothers, which is where we got there, and then we kind of got into this sort of they would call it the jam band scene, but it's the Allman Brothers and the Grateful Dead and the band gave like it's just the collision of rock and jazz basically. And that leads me to where I am today. I love jazz. I consider myself to be almost a jazz drummer, but Drew and I love that form of jamming. But so if I were to describe our sound, I would say it's definitely that hard rock element that we had in our early days of punk, but with the jazz type improvisation. And it kind of fills in the gaps of like super hard rock to just like regular, and then some chill music. Like, Lake Song definitely sounds different than Give You All My Love. And I like having that spectrum. And it's good to, as a songwriter, to be able to have those tools available and not going like 90 miles an hour the entire album. So,
I
yeah.
totally hear you. No, that's great. And honestly, I mean, just reading through your bio, I mean, you've had the chance to share the stage with incredible musicians, including, I can't even believe I'm saying this, Post Malone, Oteil Burnbridge, Devon Allman himself. I mean, what have been some of the most memorable collaborations that you've had, when it comes to your time as a drummer and playing with Drew?
Yeah. Well, I feel like I didn't come here to not acknowledge the Post Malone thing, so I will
Yeah,
talk about that.
please.
Um, so it wasn't really a formal thing. Like, I wasn't on his stage. I wasn't playing a show with him, but it was a really good time. We had some friends who were some relatives, and we went to his show. We've done it about two times now, but we've gone to his show in Philly because that's the closest we are. We go to whatever stadium, I think it's Wells Fargo Center or whatever, but we go there, and he had some family that were neighbors of ours that lived with us, and they were also family with some of the people in his security, that sort of thing. And anyway, we were able to get backstage and relax for a little bit, and then he has like a jam room that travels with him in his back. It's funny. There's just a little sign that says like post jam room or something, and it was cool. And there's like a kit set up. There's amps. I remember that we were in uh the stadium, which is built for sports and basketball and stuff like that. So the jam room was in the locker room. I forget which locker room it was, but he had like his amps set up in the showers area. So when they would play guitar, the reverb on it was crazy because it was just bouncing around the ceramic and stuff. But yeah, we were there, and Drew and I were just we jammed there by ourselves for a good bit. Every time somebody opened the door, there was a good chance it was him. So we'd all stop playing when somebody entered the room. And if it was someone who was the same, we'd just be like, oh, because he kept scaring us because we kept thinking it was him. But yeah, he did. He came in before the show one time and after the show the second time, and it was great. We just sat down, we jammed, we played some Johnny Cash. He's a big country guy, which we see now, but back when we were with him, he had just done like the Nirvana live stream, that sort of thing. So we were down with that. He taught Drew how to play Breed. Like, yeah, that was fun. And the biggest thing for me is I watched his Nirvana live stream, and after I had jammed with him the first time, he has like a house Pearl kit, and then I was watching the live stream, and I was watching Travis Barker on it, and I'm like, I played on that kit. Yeah, it was the same one. So I got back the second time, and I was like, all right, this one has been Travis Barkered. It had the same heads and everything, and I was like, I kept the sticks that time. It was great. And then we would like jam. I know the second time, Alex Gasgarth from All Time Low was there too. He just casually brought him in, and Drew and I were freaking out too. But yeah, he's so nice. He was one of the nicest people. He's very humble, and my mom and stuff were all in there. Calls everyone ma'am, that sort of thing. He's very nice, and he just came in. He jammed for a little bit. We played everything from Nirvana, Johnny Cash, funk. Drew taught it's funny. We played a funk song. We played like Just Feeling All Right, like Joe Cocker or something. And Drew had to teach Alex Gasgard the chords for one thing. And he was like, this is a 7 chord. And he goes, huh? Alex goes, we didn't have 7 chords on Warp Tour.
Yeah, right.
I said, okay. So we played that. And then after that, we just passed around the aux with Posty for a good bit, showing him some stuff. He showed us some good metal bands that he liked, and
Sure.
he was wearing the shirt of. I get to say, I'm pretty sure I introduced Post Malone to what Wolfpack is. He had not
Wow.
known what Wolfpack was. I showed him their Madison Square Garden show.
Yeah.
It was a great show, and he was like, dude, look at all the rugs. He's like, I feel like the more rugs you have, the better a band you are. And it was like, he's really funny, and we just passed that around. And so I wasn't in front of people,
Yeah.
but that might have been better for the nerves.
I think it was better for your personal experience and Drew's
Yeah.
too. I think, the time you'll have had just to just back and forth riff, just have time to jam. When there's another dynamic with an audience there,
Mm-hmm.
he's got to be that performer.
Yep.
When he's backstage, he can be himself. And as
That's
you
right.
know, he's always himself. But I think it just makes it that bit more personable. And the fact that it's relatives of neighbors, I think
Mm-hmm.
that is just serendipity at its finest. Like doing what
Yeah.
you guys do, doing what he does. The supergroup had to form at some point. I had a feeling, and here it is in the flesh. So that's so
Yeah.
killer, man.
Yeah.
And I just thought, again, like taking chance and just throwing yourself out there and just saying, hey, like, can this happen? And it actually happening
Mm-hmm.
multiple times. I think it just is a testament to you guys, your talent, but also I think it's a message to anyone out there to take chance. If you
Yeah.
hear someone is living in the local area and they know people within the scene, get immersed in it.
Mm-hmm.
Something amazing could quite just happen.
Yeah.
This is
There,
it.
there's a lot of like giving back sort of
Yeah.
thing that I've experienced in this sort of line of work, which is like because nobody expects that to happen. It's just like, oh, look, the person you were living next to since you were like 3 years old, like they're related to Posty or whatever. It was like just whatever. But I feel like definitely if you work hard and you have pure intentions, stuff like that will come back to you and be spiritual or whatever you want to call it. But definitely when you put good stuff into a music scene, from what I've seen, it tends to come back to you because you can't really ask for something like that. It just happens. And it's great when it happens. And you got to acknowledge when it happens and be grateful for it. So I very much am.
And I love the fact that you guys, your music is pure from the heart, straight how you and Drew feel. It's super organic with influence from obviously again set a lot of '70s band. You talk about Jefferson Airplane as a big
Mm,
inspiration. I know you mentioned the Led Zeps and the Lynyrd Skynyrd's, and this is it. And maybe even picking up
mm-hmm.
on the now Post Malone as he gets into his new era and such. Like you were
Yeah.
always taking forever influence, and we're changing gears now, but obviously you guys have a new single coming out, Memphis, and
Yeah.
it's dropping as we confirmed April 4th, 2025 this year. So can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind this as a track, given that the last three have been very unique? Is this another one that's going to be in and of itself, its own thing and its own beast?
Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit different than what we've had because it kind of follows a softer tone of Lake Song, which I like to write in a softer tone because there's definitely that aspect of when you play it live, it can get harder. You can jam, you can get to that place. But if you start at a low place, it creates, better dynamics as you jam, that sort of thing. But it definitely has a country vibe sort of thing. And definitely Allman Brothers inspired like everything I've ever wrote, but has some good guitar harmonies on there, which is what I really wanted to is I write very riff heavy. So like one key ingredient that I need when I write my songs, it's just like verse, chorus, riff, ties it back. But yeah, I was really proud of this riff has good guitar harmonies with it, which is a big staple in Southern rock too. And I just it's always been so pleasing to my ears to have guitar harmonies on a riff. So yeah, it's a very I'd call it a comforting song. It's very good. But I listened to a lot of he's one of my favorite songwriters, but a lot of Jim Croce during this time. And I've memorized, Mess Around with Jim, that whole record. And I was just listening to it. And I took a stab at my favorite song is Walking Back to Georgia, which is just very soft and it has this sort of hummed melody over it. So I tried my hand at doing that. And that is what the melody of the riff of Memphis is. And it was written in an acoustic context, that sort of thing. Well, as acoustic as you can get for somebody who doesn't play guitar. But we got there and then I implemented it into an electric context with a full song. And it was really cool to come back from like to see where it was from this very, very soft song. And now it's good. It's definitely unique. And I've yet to write the same thing twice, which is very good for me. And it makes it so much more enjoyable to play live with this variety that I kind of have in
Yeah.
this catalog that we made. But yeah, I love this song just like the others, and I'm excited to see what happens with it.
We're really excited for you, for Drew, for the Fitzkee brothers team. Honestly, you guys have put in the work, and it's hard work paying off for sure. I mean, every element of the record, even the graphic and the artwork. I
Hmm.
mean, this is something that I really want to give a shout out to Phil Bergson about, because he's
Hmm.
worked with you guys and collaborated on several tracks. I believe is pretty much
All
all
of
of the
them.
graphics, right?
Yep.
So, and they all have such a unique touch to them. And can you
Hmm.
walk us through, the graphics and a bit about maybe the story behind how that comes to be? Is it something that you guys
Yep.
have any influence on? Are you directing, Phil and Felipe and everything he's doing? Or is it more you leaving him to his own device to come out with this?
Hmm.
Because the stuff he comes up with, guys, you've got to see it. When you see it, you'll agree with me. And honestly, Alex, it is striking, but it's incredible stuff.
Yeah.
Incredible work.
So I mean, I can tie into roots rock after this because that's where we met him. But Phil definitely, yeah. So he's done all of the artworks and he's done a great job of tying the artwork to the tone of the song, I think. And because if you look at Lake Songs versus Give You All My Love, Lake Song is like he got like more space, more like time to think when you're looking at it, that sort of thing. But definitely there is a theme. There's like a little monster on each of them. And the reason that comes about is because I was talking with one of my personal mentors, Miss Melody Trucks. I'll get into her when I talk about Roots, but she has like a logo with her. Her dad, Butch, had a Flying Frog records and had like his own record sort of thing. So she took on the moniker. So all of her ads had like a frog with wings, that sort of thing. And it's really cool. But she's like, you guys should come up with something like that. So when somebody does a poster and it's like a frog with wings and this other guy, they associate the other guy with you. I was like, okay, that's a good idea. So we were thinking, like, what personifies us? And I thought of it. And I was just thinking, because every single time I watch Drew from behind the kit, a lot of the times, and he's got this flowing red hair like me. And whenever he plays, he moves a lot and that hair gets in his face. So I had this like image of just like this hairy thing with two eyeballs, this orange Sasquatch looking dude. So we kind of gave Phil that as inspiration because we were like, you can put one or two on there and that represents us. But it's definitely because if you look at us and see us, orange is a big part. And that a lot of our branding is orange because of that. And so yeah, we told him to go with that. So there's a variation of that person every time. We should probably name him. We got to figure out a name. But there's a definitely Drew made it apparent that he loves the busy artwork of the artwork is definitely inspired from all the like funkadelic type stuff. Their stuff is like super spacey, super loud, that sort of thing. I would say it's funkadelic and King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Those two, because like they're just I don't know. There's a way to put them. They're like super busy and almost comicky, but yeah, and those are definitely influences too. But Phil he's done a great job, and yeah, he has yet to miss. So basically, as far as the input goes from us, we don't really put a lot in. Phil thinks a lot by himself, which is awesome. I still don't really know how he does it. He listens to the song and just kind of spits it out, but he's like, we'll get on a call. And it's the
Yeah.
most like non-business call you've ever heard because he's just like, "What's up, dude? What are we thinking today?" And I'm like, we sent you the song. It's kind of hard rock, this sort of thing. I remember when we did Tomorrow. Um, we'd come off a Lake song, and he was like a little harder, like "Give You All My Love." I was like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "Dude," I'm like, "What?" He's like, "What if he's in space?" I was like, "Sure, Phil, put him in space. That's fine." But it's just hilarious that it comes out of it. And Tomorrow is one of my favorites, might be my favorite art. But yeah, it was just that. He was just like, "Put him in space, man." It's
I,
not serious at all. It just kind of
I,
comes out.
I love it, honestly. I don't think he's missed yet either. And you can get
Hmm.
the pre-sale. It's linked below as well. Don't forget, guys, Memphis available April 4th, 2025 as well. So we're super pumped for you guys. We're going to be behind you all the way, you and Drew, when it comes to
Yeah.
announcements and promo and all this. So we're here with you pushing. And honestly, I think, I look forward to the next record where we'll see Philippe just doing his thing again. And,
Yep.
where is he? Is he on the moon? Is he in the sun? Is he in the earth? Where's he going to be next? But this is
Yeah,
killer.
he
But I
might.
had to ask because honestly, the artwork is incredible, almost as incredible as the guys and the musician behind the scenes.
Thank
So
you.
this is it. In terms of Roots, you mentioned about Roots Rock
Yes.
Revival Camp. Now you've been an ambassador as well for a while, a number of
Hmm.
years. So what has that experience been like for you, and how has that influenced your playing personally? So maybe breaking that down as to what even is Roots Rock Revival as a camp.
Yes. So, Roots Rock Revival is a camp that is it's a musical camp that is held in the upper Catskills of upstate New York. So it's very very much north. It's this beautiful area. It's at this place called Full Moon Resort, which is like it's a great resort on like in the mountains. It's very beautiful. It's like they hold weddings there a lot. It's like it's good. But they basically it's a educational camp. It was inspired first off with the music of the Allman Brothers and the Grateful Dead. And then eventually the band came in there. But it was started by Butch Trucks, who is the drummer for the Allman Brothers band and well, one of the drummers. There's JMO, of course, but Butch started the camp, and because he wanted to give back, that sort of thing. And then a lot of other people joined in to help him. Oteil Burbridge helped him, who is he's basically, I would say, the leader of Roots right now, kind of carrying it. But Oteil, I always say Oteil has, if for anyone wondering who he is, he's been in all my favorite bands. He's been in he's in Dead and Company, so basically the Grateful Dead. He's been in the Allman Brothers band. He's been in the Grateful Dead. He's been in Tedeschi Trucks band. He's been in Frog Wings, which is my favorite band. But so he's there. He's insane bass player, and then it was started by Butch Oteil, and then the North Mississippi All Stars, who is Luther and Cody Dickinson, great hill country blues musicians. And so basically, the camp is scheduled as a 5 day camp, and they have classes with the they call them masters are the teachers because it's Music Masters is the charity that funds it, and so it's you get to learn from these amazing musicians through classes during the day. So it starts and during the day you have classes you can go to, and I recommend you go to all of the classes as much as you can. So like even though I play drums, I go to the bass one, I go to the guitar one because it helps because you're like, all right, let me see what they're learning. And I've definitely implemented that in my playing too. But all day is classes, and then at the end of the night or at the end of the day when the night starts, they have a performance by the masters in the like big main hall or whatever, and you get to watch them put on a show that was probably constructed earlier that day. It was great, but each night is a different band. You could have like Oteil's Project the first night, North Mississippi All Stars the second night, that sort of thing, and then afterwards they have I'd say like 5 different jam spots. There's like, yeah, one, two, three, four, yeah, like 4 different jam spots. And they basically, because as a musician, when you watch a good concert, I know I've seen all those memes that are like a football, this guy dressed up in a football player's outfit watching a football game. And it's like musicians watching a concert because you just want to be up there playing. That's exactly what they do. They rile you up and then they set you free, and you just jam at these spots with everyone till like freaking 3 in the morning, something like that. And it's great. It's the most, and I have yet to have somebody say something negative at that camp. Like it's just been positive the entire time. It's completely changed my views and altered my playing a lot. And unfortunately, Butch Trucks has passed, and I never got to meet him. But I did meet his daughter, Melody Trucks, which is she's one of my main mentors. She's taken me on the road. That's how I met her my first year at Roots. She saw me and Drew, and then decided to take us on the road, and now we're her band. But I've learned so much from her, from everybody there, and Roots Rock, honestly, it made a lot of things happen for me. Like
Yeah.
just from getting into that community, you get gigs, you get friends, and then every single time I meet a friend or play with them that I met at Roots that isn't at Roots, like outside of Roots that I gig with them, it just feels like I'm back there, and it's so good. I highly recommend Roots Rock Revival to anyone who one loves that music. You've got a lot of children of the music, like
Yeah.
Dwayne Betts, son of Dickie, has been there for the Allman Brothers. Graham Lesh, Phil Lesh's son, was there. Amy Helm is always there, Levon Helm's daughter, and you're in really good hands. Just go to the camp with the intent to learn.
Yeah.
That's all I did. And that's something that Drew and I hold very heavily is you if you just go there to have fun and not too much fun. If you go there and you have fun and learn, a
Yeah.
lot of things will happen. So Drew and I didn't go in there with the intent of like, oh, we're gonna impress all these people and show how good we are. Like, no, it doesn't work. So we just went in, we soaked up all the knowledge, and then after our first year, Melody was like, "Yo, you want to come play with us?" And we were like, "Yeah, yeah." So yeah, and I've only been at Roots for around 3 years, and because I've been with Melody and her band, I am a so-called ambassador, which is
Congratulations.
just kind of in the middle of a master, that sort of thing. And we've done these Road to Roots tours where we Melody and the band, we've visited like local schools of rock in different places, like the little extracurriculars where
Yeah.
it's like guided, and we tell them about the camp and we guide them. And Roots Rock, you definitely have a vibe about people, and it's not for everybody, I will say that. But we've gone to two schools of rock, one in Austin, Texas, and one in the northern area. I kind of hazy on where it is, but every single time we go there, there's like a good group of kids, and every single time we come out, and there's one kid that we're like, oh, he needs to go there.
Mm,
He's the one who deserves to go there. So
powerful.
Roots isn't for everyone, but you should definitely try it out to
That's
see because
amazing.
it changed my life. Yeah, it's
And
awesome.
with Butch's legacy living through Melody and the organization and the great work you're doing, it sounds like, again, always approaching things with an open mind. We'll include some details on how, you can get involved and how
Mhm.
drummers, if they are in the area and they are passionate, they can get, actively involved with Roots as well.
Yeah.
Because again, it's all about immersing yourself. And I just think it sounds like such a great organization and one which you've been blessed to be a part of. And you were blessing the next artist to obviously inspire
Yeah.
as well.
No,
So
I'd be really happy to get more drummers. There's a lot of guitarists.
got it.
If you're a drummer and you go to the camp, I was like one of four drummers my first year, and there were so many guitarists. And if you want to jam, you are the most prized possession because these guitarists need a drummer to play with. And me and Drew came in as a package, bass and drums. So they were just guitarists that were like, "You need to come with me, dude.
Please.
You need to come with me." And you're just there. You can just sit at the jams. You don't have to be like, "Oh, am I hogging the seat?" Because there's another drummer. There's usually two kits at every place too. So
Oh, that's great
you
to
get to
hear.
play side by side with drummers a lot, which is a rare thing to do.
But
Yeah.
I think one which many drummers enjoy, right? I
Yeah.
think
It's
that's
a
the
lot of
secret
fun.
goal, isn't it? Drumming on drumming on drumming. No, this is huge. In the last few minutes I've got to mention you've got a really exciting show coming up March 1st with Watermelon Funk, Parliament
Mhm.
Funkadelics at the 8x10 in Baltimore, Maryland, which absolutely is incredible. And playing with such legendary musicians, it's just something we're so proud to see you again on the
Mhm.
bill for, sharing the stages, milestone after milestone over here. This has been great, and we definitely will have you back post single release. We
Cool.
will obviously wish you every success, Alex, with the release
Yeah.
of Memphis. And again, guys, if you do want to get in touch with Alex, Drew, get involved with the band, with the Fitzkee brothers. You can see behind him, he's got his logo there in the
Oh
beauty
yeah.
orange, in that
Yeah.
orange fade. It's killer, man. We're going to
Yeah.
get into it in another episode. For now, Alex, huge thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Really,
Dude,
really appreciate it.
thank you for having me at the company and that sort of thing. Cause like these sticks, I haven't had to find a replacement. I haven't needed to find a replacement. They're great, man. And you guys just kind of reached out and decided to check out the sticks, and I'm really glad I did. So, dude, thanks for having me and having this platform to be able to share what I
course.
do. Yeah.
Our pleasure. No, we appreciate having you always, and we're just so privileged to have such a great artist on the books. 5 A reach right for now, and we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Because hey, sticks everywhere. Oh, he's got
Go
someone.
buy them.
Oh, get
Go buy
yourself
them.
some. So powerful. I love the fact that you're using those. So many drummers get such benefit out of the longer reach and the longer
Mm-hmm.
range, and yeah, we'll see. We see it in the content. We'll hear it on the record for now. And he's
Where is
repping the
it?
merch as well. Look at him,
Where is it?
guys.
I came
Where's
prepared.
your sticks? For anyone wanting some sticks, we'll drop that too. But Alex,
Mm-hmm.
big thanks to you. Big thanks to your father as well, Andrew,
Yeah.
for putting this together because
Yeah.
he's the man who made it happen. And
He
I
is.
know equally, again, I'd be ashamed not to mention that because I know he's been such a light in your life, big
Yep.
influence and mentor to you, Andrew, as well. So, and we'll have to have you back with your brother. We'll have to have you
Yeah.
both
I'll
back.
bring him. I'll bring him.
Killer,
Yeah.
man. For now, thanks so much. Guys at home watching, please let us know in the comments below your thoughts on today's episode. If you've got a great idea for the next record and the album artwork, drop it below as well. I'm sure Alex wouldn't mind having a look at that as well. But for now,
Yeah.
take care, guys.
Yeah.